Hello, I'm Mary Vivian, and welcome to the $1 Million Club interview of the month. And we are so pleased to have with us today John Shin. John, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm looking forward to just hearing your great tidbits on mindset and success, and helping everyone that's watching this and listening maybe get them to that success level and on a quicker path.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Excited to be here.
Great, well, thank you. So, number one question, what does success mean to you?
What does success mean to me? I think success is relative, right?
Right.
I mean, the more success you have, the more relatives you have, right? I mean, you got friends that you never even thought would be your friends. All of a sudden, you have a little bit of success. But to me, I think, I'm kidding, right? Success is like, everybody's got their own perception of what success is, but I think as long as you're happy at the end of the day, I think you'll be successful. Because if it's just monetary, at what point do you stop? It just never ends. You just want money, and if your whole life is just consumed about making money. But I think I'm already very successful. I thought I was successful in life just being able to breathe.
Yeah.
That I had my legs and my arms, and I had a brain, and I had all my senses,
Right.
that I can see and touch and hear and all that kind of stuff. So from that standpoint, I think I'm already priceless. Think about how many people who have so much money and they don't have their health.
Yeah.
So I think success is, the most important thing about the word success is the letter U. Because without you in success, you don't have success.
Right.
So as long as we have you, then you're already successful.
Me personally?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, I didn't tell the audience, you have had a lot of success. We'll just keep using that word. You're in the financial industry, you're an entrepreneur, you're a film executive producer, coach. You've done so many things, but I know your background. You came over here as a baby, I hear 100 days old, from South Korea.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I've heard you say you didn't want to waste that your parents had brought you over here and given you that opportunity to do whatever you wanted to do. How important and how powerful is that immigrant mindset to maybe an aspiring entrepreneur?
I think for me, and I don't know about other people, but my mom is the tiger mom, right? Yeah. And dad is Mr. Miyagi for me. They both had a value to me in different ways in my life, and everybody's got different mentors and coaches.
Yeah.
For some people, they didn't have the kind of parents maybe that I have, but I would say for me, my parents were incredible role models. My father and my mother both constantly reminded us why we came to this country. And it wasn't for the beaches. It was not because of Beverly Hills or anything like that. We came to this country understanding the power of the word opportunity. And we came here seeking that American dream that everybody, aspires for. And for a lot of people, they say that the American dream doesn't exist. It's shattered. It's not real. And to me, I believe the American dream still is very real. And in fact, the difference between me and people who don't believe that the American dream exists, I think boils down to what Dr. Martin Luther King talks about. And what Dr. Martin Luther King said, that most people die at the age of 25. We just don't bury them until they're 85.
Right.
Because most people have given up and surrendered their dreams, and say, it's not real, it's not going to happen, you know. But our dreams are still alive today. The American dream is still alive today.
Absolutely.
And I'm still dreaming today, right? Even after 25 years of being an entrepreneur, I'm still dreaming, of the things that I want to achieve in life.
So that's so beautiful. You had parents, though, that encouraged you, kept telling you you can do it.
Yes.
How critical is that
I think it's essential. I think that every parent, I understand that today people are talking about gun control, right? And rightfully so, with what's going on in the world. And there's two parts of that story. They both got different views and opinions. But what about parental control?
Right.
What's going on with our parents and what the parents are doing with their children. And the one thing that my mother and my father did every day was they provided EPR, right? People need CPR, right? That's, the medical term of CPR, giving, pulmonary, what is it? Resuscitation.
Right, that's the
well,
EPR.
EPR is what you just referred to as daily encouragement. P stands for praise. Number 3 is recognition. And how often are parents EPRing their children every single day?
Right.
But my mother was the best encourager, of my sister and I growing up. My father was the same way. So, when I hear my mother always say every day, say, oh, you can do this.
Yeah.
Oh, this just made you stronger. Now you know what mistakes you just made and you won't do that again, Oh my God, you're amazing. And so they were their own coach. They would go to a trophy store and buy a ribbon for us. They bought us plaques inside our own house. My mom went to Michael's and created little certificates and handed them out to us inside our house. And so seeing that, and I'm like, wow, look at this. I just got an award, from my mom, my dad. And so I did the same thing with my own children,
So you're using, what you know about the mind and focus and goals. You're doing that in your parenting.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, leadership doesn't take place just at business and entrepreneurship, but leadership is also inside your own house.
Right.
So if you're going to be a leader, why don't you lead inside your house first? And so leadership's right there with your own children. How do you lead by example inside your own house?
Absolutely. So if somebody's watching this and they go, yeah, I don't have that though. I don't have a parent that encourages me. I'm going to, having a coach or a mentor, I would think is just critical. How important is that, having a coach or mentor to help you through, that entrepreneur, even if you're working for somebody else, getting to that success point that you want to get to?
I have a friend, her name is Dr. Sonia Stribling, and she was up on stage one time and she said, how many of you, she says, raise your hand, right? How many of you did not come from a rich family? And like 99% of the people raise their room, and she says, well, then guess what? Have someone like in your family, have you be the one, your children come from a rich family from you. In other words, you be the starting point, okay, and make a decision. And most people just have to make a decision.
That's like the most important thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, Napoleon Hill talks about that in Think and Grow Rich.
Exactly, it's one of the principles. And if you just look at the word, decide.
Right.
The word de, comes from the root word of to do, like do.
Right.
And the word side means to die. That's why we have suicide, pesticide, homicide, right? So it's either do or die, right? Either make a decision to do something or don't do it.
Committed decision.
Yes.
Because you can make a decision and it's convenient.
Exactly.
Or a committed decision, you're going to do whatever it takes.
Exactly.
So Think and Grow Rich was critical in maybe pivoting your success path. Would you agree with that statement?
Yes.
So how old were you when you were introduced to it? And what was it about that book that you just went, whoa, this is now going to be a game changer?
I don't know exactly what age I was, but I would say I was in my 20s.
Okay.
And I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have someone that I knew that I could look up to and reach out to and say, hey, can you mentor me?
Right.
But someone did say to me, go and check out this book. This is a must read. If you want to be successful, this is a must read.
Right.
So in 1996, I went and bought a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And I started reading it. And what Napoleon Hill did as a reporter in the early 19th century, during the Great Depression, is he went around and interviewed different people. But how before he went and interviewed everyone, he went and interviewed Andrew Carnegie and said, Mr. Carnegie, what is the secret to becoming successful? He said, that's a great question. Why don't you go and interview my dearest, closest friends?
Right.
And he says, I'd like to introduce you to this guy who actually believes that he can actually move a carriage without horses. And he actually is trying to build something inside his house in his living room floor. And that was Henry Ford, right? And from there, he met, Burbank and Firestone and, Thomas Edison, and the list continues to go on. And so we read that book. When I say we, my wife Arlene and I. And it was interesting as we read it that we both talked about after every chapter, what was your takeaway? Like, what did you get out of that book? And so it was interesting because she had a different takeaway than I did.
Right.
Right. And it's almost like reading the Bible, and and how every pastor has a different interpretation of it, or every church has a different interpretation. And so Arlene had her takeaway and I had mine, and then we had a discussion about it. And it's like watching a movie. Years ago, I remember watching a movie by Keanu Reeves called Matrix.
Right.
You guys remember that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the first time I watched that movie, I was like, what was this movie about? And I had to watch it like 3 times to figure it out. And even more recently was another movie by Leonardo DiCaprio called Inception. Do you remember that movie? And I watched that movie and I'm like, what just happened? And you walk out of the movie theater, you're with your friends, and everybody kind of goes, okay, what was that? I didn't get it. I was so lost, right? So you had to watch the movie a second time and a third time just to understand it. When you did, it was kind of like you're inside of you're inside of a dream, inside of a dream, inside of a dream, and there were multiple levels of this movie, And Think and Grow Rich is that way. It's not, you're going to read it the first time and you'll scratch the surface, but you got to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And when you do, you have your takeaways. Right? And you learn something every time you read that book. And so I read that book every single day, and I have read that book every single day to a point where I've got all the pages now memorized. I think I've got everything highlighted. And Napoleon Hill, that book, was my mentor. It still is my mentor. And everything I read, what it did is, even though I was doing something, I wasn't sure that what I was doing was right. And I had no one to turn to ask them, is this the right way to do it? And by reading it, what it did is it validated what I was doing was right, that I was on the right course. And the things that he said in there very much validated that what my belief system was, right, which I call your BS, the things that we buy into, all your BS is your belief system, right?
So you read that book, great segue into my next question on beliefs. So there had to be some limited beliefs that you had. Can you think of one or two that you changed, or maybe some habits that you changed when you were like, you know what, I'm doing this, I'm following these principles more consciously, because I think you're very much an unconscious competent, as they say, right? So any key habits or belief systems that stand out that you really changed?
I think for me was a chapter where he talks about turning desires into gold. And what he talks about, and he gives you specific steps on what you need to do. And I would always just say, I want to be rich. Right. I say, and then, well, what does that mean? Or I want to have lots of money. Well, what is a lot of money? Because if you're talking to the guy who makes $50,000 a year, $500,000 is a lot of money. But if you say $500,000 is a lot of money, if you're talking to the guy who makes $10 million a year, $500,000 is kind of insignificant, right? So what does it mean? So I didn't want to compare myself to everybody else. I just needed to know how much money I needed to make. And so to me, I needed to make a lot. Well, Napoleon Hill says, what's a lot, and be specific. And so I said, okay, specific. And as I started to read it in different versions of Think and Grow Rich, it says to be specific as to what you want. So I said, I want to make $250,000 a year. Well, at the time I was only making $60,000. So 250 in the early 90s, was a lot of money, So I said, I'm going to make $250,000 a year. But then it says, the next step says, by when? And I said, as soon as possible. Well, when as soon as possible? That would be like having a target on a piece of paper and having it go like this. You're never going to hit it, right? And so our choices would be to have that target stand still so we can actually hit it better. Okay, that's our bullseye. So I gave myself a definitive date. I said, I'm going to make this $250,000 by November 10th, 1996. And when I said that, what it did is it created a sense of urgency. A sense of urgency. And when you have a sense of urgency and you have a deadline, you're going to get it done, and it creates momentum. So if the government, if the IRS says you can file your taxes anytime you'd like, when would you file your taxes, right? But everybody says, we know that April 15th is the deadline date, and so everybody gets their taxes done the night before, right? And and gets it in, right? But they met the deadline. And it's the same thing in business. You just got to have some deadlines for yourself. And that's what I've done, and we've always had deadlines and what we have to do. And it's amazing what you get done when you do have a deadline. Yeah.
Do you carry a goal card?
No, but I do have a piece of paper, that I have it's about 4 pages long. I do have it in my briefcase. I have a copy on my bed. It sits in front of my TV, in front of my bedroom, you know, in my retreat. And I look at it every single day.
Every day.
And what I'm going to do. What's my outcome tomorrow?
How incredible was it to be part of the filming of Think and Grow Rich, The Legacy? I mean, it was such a critical part of your life. Was that amazing to be part of that whole process?
It is. I mean, to sit there and think that this is a book that was written in 1937. Well, it was actually written earlier, but published in 1937. And to think that after 100 years or 80 years that not a single person on this planet ever called up the Napoleon Hill Foundation and got the rights to actually make the movie. You know, people ask all the time, the director Scott Servine or myself or other people, how did you guys get the rights?
Right.
Right? 7.6 billion people and no one ever asked. So guess what we did?
You called them.
Yes.
You took action.
We took action. And that's another pivotal thing in life and business is, you know, you can dream all you want, right? And be in fantasy land, right? And have these idealistic dreams. But if you don't actually act on them, then nothing ever comes to fruition. And so I always talk about TFA, right? And what TFA stands for is T is your thoughts, your thinking, right? I always ask people, do you ever think about what you think about every day, right? Because everything starts right here inside your mind.
Absolutely.
Okay, then whatever you think about will affect the way you feel, right? And then the way you feel will then determine the way you act, and then your actions will determine the results. But as we talk about action and to act, the letter ACT, or the word ACT, A-C-T, each letter is an acronym. And what ACT stands for is, A stands for appropriate. So is whatever actions you're taking appropriate to your results, right? C stands for consistency. So everybody wants to get rich overnight. Everybody wants to make $1 million like instantaneously, right? It's like they want the results of $1 million like they cook their dinners in a microwave, right? 2 minutes later they want their food, you know? So it's got to be consistent, okay? And then T stands for tenacity or tenacious. If you can just apply those three things in your act, then your results will begin to manifest itself, you know? But it starts right up here.
So what do you say to somebody that's watching this? They're working really hard. They're not getting the results that they want. They want that million, and they go, yeah, I read the book. Doesn't work. What would you say to that person?
So when people say, oh, I watched the book, or I read the book, right? And I go, okay, well, what did you get to take? I hear people say, oh, I read that book. It was amazing. Great, what's your favorite story?
10 years ago I read it.
Yeah, I don't remember. Okay, yeah, okay, it's because you haven't read it.
Right.
So don't lie, okay? People say, I've started a business, but it just doesn't work. Okay, and what did you do every single day?
Right.
You know, but then they'll tell me every television show that's on TV.
Right.
Right? I didn't even know that the basketball playoffs were going on. Right?
I just saw that last night.
Yeah,
San Francisco did not win.
I don't even know who won, to be honest with you, right?
I was having dinner and I just heard their
exactly. I found out, the reason why I knew that there was a basketball playoff game or a championship going on, it was my son's graduation yesterday from high school, and so we left the high school graduation and went straight to a steakhouse to have dinner.
Yeah. And
when we got there, the place was like a zoo. I'm like, what are all these people doing here? A lot of people, and everybody was cheering and chanting and for a game. And I said, oh, what's going on? What game?
Right.
And they all said, oh, the basketball championships are going on. And I didn't even know what was going on, right? Because I'm so laser focused on my business.
Yeah.
I don't have time to watch TV. I don't even know what TV shows are going on right now. So it's amazing when people say, John, do you watch TV, or do you have, what's your favorite show? Like, I don't know. I don't even watch TV.
You didn't watch Game of Thrones?
I don't, well, I mean,
I know one exception.
I watch Game of Thrones, but I don't even have time to watch that. You know what I mean? Because if I sit there and watch TV for an hour, I feel guilty that I should be making some phone calls. Right? I feel like I should be returning some emails. I should be revising my business plan. I should be calling someone on my staff and EPRing them. Mm-hmm. In that 1 hour, I could probably make 25 calls or text messages and tell somebody how awesome they were yesterday or today. Mm-hmm. right? And,
I love that.
And how awesome, they were, like the people, this whole staff that's doing this show right now, right? Hey, thank you for that awesome camera job that you did, the footage that you took. Thanks for the music, guys. Thanks for the editing. Thanks for, bringing that creative essence to this picture or this poster or this flyer. Or there's so many people that I want to call every single day, and I'm sitting there watching a show that doesn't pay me.
Right.
It's not going to serve me for my business if I'm watching a bunch of people trying to get a ball into a basket, right? And it's amazing that some of these men and women are wearing someone else's name on their back.
Right.
Right? I mean, I would never do that. I would never wear another man's name on my own back. Why would I do that? And they jump, and they're getting all excited about somebody that doesn't even know who they are.
Right.
Right? I mean, it's great that you're wearing Kobe Bryant's jersey, but Kobe Bryant doesn't know you.
Yeah.
Right? I want to go and wear my own name on my own jersey.
Well, you brought up a really good point, leaving everyone with the impression of increase. What you're saying. You're just giving that appreciation for people doing a good job, and you're noticing that. That makes a really great leader.
Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, because that's important, because think about how hard. And the more you EPR people, the more they want to do it. The more they want to help you more. It's not even just about the money. They're just grateful that you appreciate who they are. Because I think that today in the entrepreneur world, I think employers, not all employers, but most employers treat their people like they're worth $15 an hour. Yeah. Or $20 an hour. I want to treat my people like they're worth $1 million an hour. And I'm just grateful that they're willing to work for me or work with me at what I'm paying them, But the least I can do is tell them how incredible they are. Because they are.
Your parents did for you. I mean, you're just giving somebody that encouragement.
Yes.
And that means so much to people.
Yes. And I just let everybody know, look, the fact that you're born,
yeah.
that you are this human being, a person, you're 1.5 trillion to 1 that you were born. So you are a miracle, baby, right? I mean, Heavenly Father created you with your own natural tattoo. Right. I know people love tattoos today, but Heavenly Father gave you one. It's called a birthmark, right? And He's basically said that you're a masterpiece because you're a piece of the master.
I love that. That's so nice. I just want to wrap this up with two things. One, what do you do for fun? What is the lifestyle?
Ooh, I think I love to do anything that has to do with, if I can just be with my kids, for fun, I'll just do whatever I want to do with them. So whether we go boating, jet skiing, snowboarding, depending on the season, skiing, we go yachting, jet skiing, we go and do these little indoor race cars.
You love cars.
Yeah, cars. I love cars. Love to go and race them and go to the tracks and do things like that. So I just love doing anything that the kids want to do, 24 hours a day. I love videography. I love photography. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
$1 Million Club. What is a $1 million mindset? When I say that to you, what do you think about?
Wow. Well, I guess the mindset really is what area of your life, right? I mean, I always do believe that every day I wake up, I'm worth more than $1 million. Like I'm priceless. And I ask somebody, I go, what is your net worth? And people say 100,000.
Wow.
50,000.
They give you money.
Yeah, they go 10,000. And I said, wow, that's interesting. So let me ask you a question. If a blind man walked up to you and offered you $20 million for your eyeballs, would you sell them?
Yeah.
I mean, if we could just take the eyeballs out of your socket and put it into a blind man's eye socket,
right?
Would you sell it for $20 million?
But a lot of people would say yes.
I mean, but most people say, hell no.
Or hell no.
That's what most of them, they said, hell no. And I'm like, okay, great. So you're worth at least $20 million.
Right.
Or is there a price for that? Right? What if we took all your senses away? The fact that you couldn't taste, hear, touch, feel, right? What is that worth? And they said, it would be priceless. I said, so guess what? Why would you wake up in the morning and not give yourself a priceless, value to your mind and to your body? Right? And what number did you give you? I have a friend, his name is Dr. Bill Dorfman, and he says, when you wake up, what number do you give yourself every day? Did you give yourself a 5? Right? And he does that. He asks everybody in the room, when you woke up this morning, how many of you gave yourself a number? 1 through 10, how many give you 2? And you see hands go up. 4, hands go up. 6, and hands go up. But at the end of the day, you should be giving yourself a 10 on a daily basis.
Yeah.
You know, wake up with that $1 million mindset. But not even a million. I think that's limiting yourself.
Absolutely.
Wake up with $1 billion mindset.
There you go. We're going to be calling this the $1 billion Club shortly. So John, you just authored a book.
I did.
I love it. So I'm going to whip it out here, show everyone. It's How Rich Asians Think, the Think and Grow Rich. So can you tell me a little bit about this and what, inspired you to write this?
Well, there were other versions of it. There was a book called Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice. Then there was a Think and Grow Rich Latino choice. And then there's a Think and Grow Rich for Women that was written by Sharon Lechter, my good friend. And she also wrote all the Rich Dad, Poor Dad books and recently wrote Outwitting the Devil.
Yeah.
And so I went and tried to look for Think and Grow Rich and Asian choice. And there was nothing like it, or Chinese or Taiwanese or Japanese or any of that. So I was wondering why there wasn't a Think and Grow Rich Asian version. And so I got the rights from the Napoleon Hill Foundation, and we did this book. And during my interview process, I interviewed a lot of Asians, but I also interviewed a lot of non-Asian people. And in success, it's not an ethnic thing, right? It's not a religious thing. It's not a sex thing. Because I interviewed different people from different religions, all different ethnicities, gay people, straight people. Success doesn't discriminate, okay? No. Success goes to anybody who embraces those 13 principles, applies them to their life every single day, and internalizes it on a daily basis, and then you'll see the different types of success that you're trying to acquire.
Were there paradigms or beliefs in the Asian community that you felt maybe this addressed to help people understand success a little different, or was it just a...
Yeah, so I asked a lot of Asian people, what do they do? And it's interesting how many Asians are told by their mothers and their fathers, or grandparents for that matter, to all become doctors or lawyers, right? I mean, there's so many Asian doctors and lawyers today. But that's because our parents have programmed us to do that. And so there are a lot of talented Asian people that could be doing something other than becoming a doctor or a lawyer. Nothing wrong with becoming a doctor or a lawyer, but there's so many of them today. And there's so many other things you could be doing and really, truly, embracing your true talents and gifts, to serve people. And so that's a book really written for not even just Asians, but everyone. Yeah.
So where can somebody buy this?
So right now we're doing a tour, a Think and Grow Rich World Tour, and you can buy them at the World Tour, or they can go to my website at www.tgrasianchoice.com.
Okay.
Or you can get it there, and we'll send it to you. But if you can also go on Amazon, and you can order it on Amazon, but then you don't get it until January of 2020.
Okay. So you're doing right now a road show or live, you're going and doing events?
Yes.
To promote the movie, or is it to promote, studying and the coaching of Think and Grow Rich?
All the above.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're there to promote the movie Think and Grow Rich: The Legacy.
Yeah.
We're there to promote my book Think and Grow Rich, the Asian version of it.
Okay.
Also there's Sharon Lechter, who has a book called Outwitting the Devil, which is something that was found in the archives that Napoleon Hill wrote. And that book, even if you don't read read the book, listen to the audio.
I did that. It's amazing.
Isn't it? Yeah, the audio just scares the hell out of you while you're even driving and listening to it. But it's very powerful, so we're doing all that. And then we've got Satish Verma, who is the president and founder and architect of the Think and Grow Rich Institute, which is based out of Toronto, Canada, that is. And so we've got all of us, and then we've got my dear friend, Mr. James Whitaker, who wrote the book, Think and Grow Rich: The Legacy. So we're there to promote that. And then we have a lot of other people that are coming to the events and supporting and providing value and different types of content and their perspective and how each of those speakers or top level industrial leaders today and top level CEOs and authors and speakers and thought leaders, and how that book has impacted their life.
So those events are so important to be part of, right? If somebody's really wanting to make sure they're around like-minded people. So how does somebody find out about those events? What are,
so we
get
have
on your website?
Yeah, we do have a website. It's TGR for Think and Grow Rich, tgrworldtour.com.
Okay.
And they can go there and see all our cities that we're going to and all the different countries. So we're actually visiting 12 countries.
Wow.
We're doing 50 cities, and we're excited to just come and really meet people and network and share this amazing philosophies of Napoleon Hill's works.
I think it's amazing too. I mean, the book was written over 80 years ago.
That's right.
And it just holds true.
Mm-hmm.
So it, like you say, success does not discriminate.
It doesn't.
So if you follow these principles, success can be yours.
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Well, John, thank you so much for joining us.
Super honored.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Thank you for joining us here today, and we'll talk to you soon.
You bet.
All right. Thanks, John.
You bet.